Some decisions feel impossible. Like no matter how much you think about something, you only end up more confused. That's more than just indecision. That is your mind trying to solve a problem with too many voices at one time, six to be exact. But back in 1985, there was this psychologist named Edward de Bono, and he developed a framework to make thinking way easier by giving each part of your mind its own space to be heard, one at a time. This is a way of thinking that it gives your mind structure. It's more like a conference table instead of a chaotic group chat. And once you learn it, you are never going to want to make a hard decision without it. It's called the six thinking hats, and it was actually originally designed for group problem solving, but it turns out to be just as powerful when used alone, especially for those types of decisions that only you can make. So when you're stuck in your own head, this gives you a way out. The six thinking hats is a method for solving problems or making decisions by separating out the different ways your mind processes things. So instead of trying to think of everything all at once, facts and fears and feelings and ideas, you're giving each type of thought its own moment. So if you're a visual thinker, you can actually imagine putting on each hat as you go, or you can just mentally shift gears, one hat, one perspective at a time. And each one is giving you permission to focus on a single way of thinking without getting distracted by the rest. The white hat is all about information, and it's focusing on the fact, what you know, what's missing, and what you still need to find out. The red hat brings in emotion. It's that gut check, how you're feeling, what your instincts are saying, no explanation needed. The black hat is your inner skeptic. It is looking for flaws and risks and anything that could possibly go wrong. It's the one that says, hold up, have we thought this through? Now, the yellow hat is the optimist. It finds the upside. It is looking for the value, the opportunity, and the best case scenario. The green hat is for creativity, and this one is helping you think outside of the box. So, is there anything else you could try, or is there another way that you haven't thought of yet? The blue hat is the one that manages the entire process. It steps back and it's looking at the big picture and helping you decide what to do with everything you've just heard. So each hat gives you a different voice to listen to, and when you've heard them all, you've got a way forward that actually makes sense. So let's try it with a real decision you probably had to make at some point in your life. Should I quit my job? Here's how you would walk through it with each of the hats. So starting with the white hat, as a reminder, this one is all about gathering information. No feelings, no assumptions, no stories, just the fact. It is asking, what do you actually know and what do you still need to know? So if you're wearing the white hat and thinking through this decision, it might sound something like this. I've been in this job for 5 years, haven't had a raise in over 18 months. I've applied to 4 other jobs recently, but haven't gotten any interviews yet. I have about 3 months of savings, maybe 4 if I cut back. And I don't know how long it'll take to find something new. I'm also not sure what kind of role I'll want. The white hat is all about being honest with yourself, not about what you hope is true or what you're afraid is true, just what's real. And that gives you a foundation because if you're not grounded in reality, it is way too easy to base your decision on fear or fantasy. Next, we shift into the red hat, and this one is all about emotion. So it is the part of you that is not caring about logic, it is not caring about evidence, it just wants to know how you feel. Wearing the red hat is giving you permission to check in with your gut, your intuition, your mood, without needing to explain or justify any of it. If you're thinking about quitting your job and you're in the red hat, it sounds something like this. I feel so drained. I dread Mondays. I'm frustrated, but I'm also scared. Part of me wants out, and part of me is terrified I'll regret leaving. I don't know if I trust myself to make the right call. Now, this isn't about fixing those feelings. It's just about noticing them. Because if you don't acknowledge what you're carrying emotionally, it'll find a way to show up eventually, and usually in ways that confuse the decision even more. The red hat lets your feelings have a turn at the mic without running the entire show. Now let's put on the black hat, and this one is for your inner critic, part of you that stands for risks and red flags and anything that could possibly go wrong. Not here to shut things down necessarily, it's here to protect you from diving in without thinking things through. So if you're thinking of quitting your job and you're in black hat mode, it might sound something like this. What if I leave and can't find something better? What if I run out of savings before I get hired? What if I regret this and it sets me back instead of moving me forward? What if this is just a phase and I'll feel differently in a few months? This hat isn't trying to scare you. It's just trying to slow you down long enough to ask, are you sure you're ready for this? Used well, the black hat is not about fear. It's actually about foresight. It's helping you see the potholes before you trip over them. Next, we'll switch to the yellow hat, which is the voice of optimism. Where the black hat looked for what might go wrong, the yellow hat is actually looking for what might go right. It's asking, what are the benefits? What is the upside? What is the best that could actually happen if you did this? So, again, if you're thinking of quitting your job, it might sound something like this: I could finally feel excited to start my day again. I might find work that feels more meaningful or even create something of my own. I'd stop settling. I'd be choosing growth instead of just staying comfortable. Even if it's hard, it might be exactly what I need. Now, this hat doesn't pretend everything is perfect, but it reminds you that there's something to look forward to, bringing hope back into the conversation, especially when fear has been hogging the mic. Next up is the green hat, and this is the part of your mind that thinks in possibilities. It's creative and curious, and it refuses to believe that there's only one way forward. This hat is asking, what haven't I thought of yet? Is there a different approach? Is there a third option that's somewhere between staying and quitting? So if you're wearing the green hat and you're thinking about your job, it might sound something like this. What if I don't quit right away, but instead take a short sabbatical? What if I shift to part-time while I explore something else on the side? What if I pitch a new role at the company that actually excites me? What if I use my weekends to test out a new path before making a leap? The green hat doesn't need everything to make sense. Its job is just to open every possible door, even weird doors, and ask why not? Because sometimes the best ideas show up after you've ruled everything else out. Last comes the blue hat, and this is your inner guide. So this is the part of you that's stepping in, taking it all in and saying, okay, now what? The blue hat is not introducing any new thoughts. It's just there to help you organize the ones you've already had so you can move forward with clarity. It's asking questions like, what did I learn from each perspective? What still feels unclear? And what's the next small step I can make based on everything that I've seen so far? So after walking through all of the facts and the feelings and the risks and the hopes and the ideas, the blue hat might sound something like this. I can see that I'm not emotionally okay where I am, but I also know I'm not financially ready to quit tomorrow. I'm going to spend the next 30 days researching, updating my resume, and just seeing what's out there. I'll give myself a real deadline to reassess and then make a decision from a place of more stability. The blue hat doesn't need to have the final answer. It just gives you the next right step. And that is the power of the 6 thinking hats. It's not that the decision itself gets easier, it's that your thinking does. And that's why this 40-year-old framework still works. It turns something overwhelming into something you can actually work with. When each part of your mind gets a voice, you'll finally get a way forward. So the next time you're stuck, whether it's a big life decision or just something you can't stop spinning on, try walking through the 6 thinking hat. And tell me in the comments, what's something in your life that you could use the 6 hats for? Don't forget to subscribe for new videos like this every Thursday. Thanks so much for watching.